All right.
Yeah, because the last thing I want to do is have you start recording and I'm sitting here fiddling with it.
And we've started. I'm Eric Paul
The
Johnson.
camera! I'm talking about the camera, by the way. Yes, I knew we'd started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We have a lot of comments about So Serious, and even some leftovers from Heaven Only Knows I thought were too good to just let slip away. And we have a review on the podcast. So we really, we really need to get moving.
This is more than a 3-word review.
Yes. You suck
Oh,
ass. Yeah, it's
okay.
more than that.
How much we suck. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they expand on the you suck ass. So,
Okay.
so
Okay. So they're going to go into detail on the ass. Okay.
yeah. Yeah. For Heaven Only Knows, first up, there's Corey Gomel. You hit it on the head. I remember being told that Jeff believes in God, unlike me, but that he also believed in a separation of church and his music. After the completion of the alt version, which was version number 1, the original release really was the alt version. And despite what Jeff said later, he did feel and was told that it did sound a little too religious for an E.L.O. song. I agree with Eric Winsenson, despite minor complaints. The alt version is far superior to what was originally released, but I love both versions. Interesting aside, I played this song for a music industry insider back in '86, and he went on and on about how this was the song he'd been waiting for E.L.O. to release, and that it was the best he'd ever heard from Jeff. I did not agree, to each his own, but I never forgot that conversation. Yeah, I remember when I think it was '83 on a radio show, the backwards message Satan from El Dorado thing came up, and Jeff said, "No, no, no, the whole band's full of God-fearing boys. We're all good boys." And as for whether or not he has a religion or not, I couldn't tell, other than if he was saying God-fearing, like, as we're all good boys. Whether they have a religion or not, I don't know. And really, I don't really think I need to know. I don't really think it. I don't know. Religion doesn't matter to me. Just do your thing. My only rule is do your thing. Just don't be a dick. That's my rule in life.
That's true.
Yeah.
MJ Fold says, I was really sorry to hear about the passing of Mark. I assumed when we auditioned it was because he had decided not to do it anymore, and not that he had passed away. Really sad. I did enjoy listening to the bonus tracks episode. It was good fun. I was also honored that I had gotten so close with my Got Something to Say entry. If you need an extra voice for anything, I would still love to be involved. Take care, guys.
Um.
Yeah, well, we do need an extra voice that really gets in there and gets into people's ears and makes them go to the Patreon page.
That'd be good too. Yeah. I mean, I have nothing against having MJ on the show. Taz suggested maybe each week they could bounce back. Taz has her voicemail bumper one week, and MJ has his the next week. And I, to me, I kind of like consistency. Every week, it's that voice for that. I also like that I don't have to bounce back. Here's what I like. I don't have to remember, well, who does it this week? I just know, grab Taz's voice, put that in there. That part's done. Um, yeah, I love. I would have no problem with having MJ in here. I can't really figure out how, because I think right now all the voice assignments are taken. So I don't know. I'd love to use you. I just don't know how to use you. All right. Now, the comments about So Serious, which a lot of people had a lot to say about it. Trevor Raggett, another fabulous podcast, and you guys pretty much nailed it. Oh, thank you very much. So Serious is a great little pop song. Maybe not a classic E.L.O. sound, but a fun, hummable song in its own right, and very 80s pop. Interesting discussion about the video. Eric W. is both right and wrong. The video. Eric is both right and wrong the video. Especially the swimming pool scenes are pure hypnosis. But the director isn't Storm. Storm. I thought it said Strom for a second. My mind moved R's and O's. Storm Thorgerson. It's a guy called Peter Christopherson, who was a former member of Throbbing Gristle and Psychic TV. I like that name, Throbbing Gristle. It seems like a name I would have come up with.
Never heard of Throbbing Gristle before.
No, neither have I, and hopefully it's not something that I have to see a doctor for.
You've never heard of them. I've
Oh, well.
quite familiar with them, but
yeah, you've heard everything. But more importantly, in this context, he directed a number of music videos for 80s bands like Mark Allman, Nick Kershaw, Erasure, The, though he later also worked with bands like Nine Inch Nails, Rage Against the Machine, The Scorpions, Van Halen, and Sepultura. But prior to that, in the 70s, he was a partner in the Hypnosis design team working on Pink Floyd's A Nice Pair, Wish You Were Here, and Animals, and the 3 eponymous Peter Gabriel albums. So there's your link. Oh, and the band in the video are the 1986 touring band, called in to fill out the visuals. Mick's little close-up, a minute or so in, is miming to a synth keyboard line, which is in the album track too. But the video has an extended opening section, so it pops up at around 45 seconds before the verse starts.
That explains a little bit about why Mick is in there, and also why the visuals look like they did, because, yeah, it looked like it was Hypnosis related, and I just couldn't find out who directed the video. The reason I was surprised about all the bright colors and everything is because Throbbing Gristle, as you can tell by the name, doesn't make light, happy pop music. Didn't, I should say. They were pioneers in industrial music.
So here's the thing I like about the informal Zoom thing is if we were recording an episode right now, I'd have to tell Eric to say that all over again, because for some reason it sounds like you're rubbing your shirt against your microphone.
Where's my microphone anyway?
That's probably why. There you go.
I have my cord around the back of my neck so it's not rubbing.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you're not Karen. Oh wow, you're coming through loud though.
That might be why I had to adjust it down, or adjust it up earlier.
Maybe up a little bit more.
Oh, at the microphone?
No, the volume.
Put the volume back up again?
Just a tiny bit.
Oh, okay. We're professionals.
There you go. That's good. That's your tiny bit that I wanted.
Well, just the tip. Anyway.
I need the sound effects. There we go. Or in Eric's case. Well, that's right. I don't know if Zoom picks up the loud noises. So
it does. It does. Okay. It does pick up some stuff.
Okay.
But I did thank you. But yeah, that's a lot of information. I couldn't find it, but luckily somebody else knew it, which explains quite a lot on the video there.
Mm-hmm. Get out and knock. God, I hate people who roll up and just honk their horn. Or just pick up your phone and say, I'm here. Anyway, go ahead, Eric.
Okay. 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Press Alt to show meeting. Go away. Sorry, Zoom issues here too.
Yeah.
Okay, we are the most professional Zoom people ever. Karen Godwin Harrison says, without digging myself into a deeper hole, this was the format I missed last week. I had never actually heard the podcast before. Thank you, Eric PJ, for sending it to me. Taz did a great job. Gotta love that accent. Jeff is very clever with words and channels bits and reminds us of other songs and music. Good job, guys. EE and T.
That's weird to me. And I'm not saying Karen is weird. It's kind of weird to me that this is how you know us, that you never heard the podcast. I don't know. I guess it's kind of like reading the letters to the editor of the newspaper, but never reading any of the other part of the newspaper. It's It seems like we're sitting here talking about episodes that you have no idea exist, and yet you still tuned in. I appreciate that. Let's
Yeah. It
um
means that we have that our personalities are magnetic enough to catch people for the podcast for that.
or that we're so much of a train wreck that people can't look away.
Yeah, I've always thought I have a magnetic personality, except everybody else has the same pole alignment as I do, so that's why they all get repulsed.
So that's why they all just go far away from Eric. Yes, yes. I could see that. Well, good that you're here, Karen, and listening, and glad sort of a backdoor way of getting into the podcast, but there you go. Glad you're here. Mark Jealous. Well, 2 songs in agreed with both of you. Okay, it was a bit typos there, I guess. Better than I remembered, certainly. There is always an issue with established bands as to whether they move with the times or not. A difficult one. But I'd say you can't keep churning out the same album. So kudos to Jeff and the band for moving with the times, even if it means an 80s synth pop sound. Not my favorite.
Yeah, not my favorite. Not my favorite with them either. A lot of these progressive bands that try the '80s synth pop sound. At least it gives you a list of at least it gives you entries for the list of great bands' worst albums.
Yeah, it sure does. It does do that. That's something I'll
Yeah,
get into when we do the bonus tracks episode for
Neil,
Balance of
Neil
Power.
Young synth stuff. Jethro Tull's Under Wraps.
Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The mid '80s was a bad time for established bands. Yeah.
Tracy. Uh, Tracer Anthony says, one of my favorite E.L.O. singles, Pure Harmless 80s pop gold with an undeniably enjoyable beat and hook. This is a very solid driving with the top down selection. I've been told not to do that.
As much as I drive with my top down, or as much as I do anything with my top down, I've been told to not do that anymore.
Yes, do not.
Food, and maybe bring yourself down a little bit. Taz Barkley, great show again, guys. Oh, thank you, Taz. Once again, really love the build-up before I speak. It sounds like Superman or Superwoman is going to burst out of the speakers. Ha ha. Now, that was from Mel Brooks' movie, High Anxiety, which ties into So Serious, or High Anxiety. Yeah, I love this song, but I actually do really love the album. It is one of my favorites from Jeff/E.L.O. I have to say, I have to say, probably not a popular opinion with many E.L.O. fans, but it's mine, so there you go. I definitely agree with the Winwood sound, absolutely. I also agree with the Petty Orbison sound. I've always thought that too. And the classic 80s vibe going on there. I agree with what Jeff said about the song. Whether it's a relationship between two people, two countries, whatever. When you really sit down and think about it, was it so serious? Here's to next week, guys. I think it's serious when the other person starts pointing a gun at you. Then things have gotten so serious.
Mm. I was about to say, luckily I've never had that, but then I remembered, yeah, I have never. Yeah,
Um,
life has occasionally been interesting.
really?
Yes.
What, for serious?
For serious, yes. Yeah,
I've
I've had at least one person pull a gun on me. Yeah.
Wow. I've never had a gun that's actually been loaded with bullets or a gun for the purpose pointed at me. Who pointed a gun at you?
Some random person that was driving. He got mad at what he got mad. I mean, I think I was maybe 21, 22.
Hmm.
Flipped him off, and then he pulled a gun out and threatened me with it.
Well, that'll learn you.
Yeah.
I pointed a gun at myself once.
That was
um,
stupid.
yes, I was
Yeah, that's
about.
one of the first things in gun safety that they tell you not to do. That's
I
why
was.
you take a gun safety course, even if you're never going to use a gun.
My dad was in the Army Reserves, and when I was 10, he brought his pistol home, and it was sort of a gun safety thing. This is the gun. This is the pistol. You know, don't play with this. And he gave it to me, and he held it, and I was curious, what's it look like down there? So I point the thing right,
No,
squint my eye, and my mom. I mean, I could see out of the corner of my eye. She's like, but they're calm. And then, oh, okay, I can't see down there. It's too dark. And I give the gun back. And my dad says, you never, ever look down the barrel of a gun. And it's like, oh, you know what? That makes sense. So fortunately,
yeah, actually, I should say that's the second thing they tell you after the gun is always loaded.
yeah, assume the gun's always loaded. Yeah. So fortunately, I'm not a gun person, so I don't have any guns here. I have toy Star Trek phasers. Um, oh, and of course these guns right here that
Where?
that need a wrench, one of those little jar wrenches to open up pickles or even a bottle of soda. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, maybe we should move on to MJ Folds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love this song. I love the sound, the words, the little ringing intro that leads into the song. I love Tonight Tonight. I love that little guitar twangy bit that leads into the chorus. That's actually one of my favorite parts of the song, too.
Yeah.
I just love how it bounces along. Love it all.
Actually, you mentioned all the stuff that I liked about it. I probably didn't bring it up in the episode because usually when we're recording those episodes, my head's like a mess of all the things that I'm thinking about of what I have to say, and I have to, while this is going on, try and get them in order. Which one's coming out of my mouth now? Don't forget this one either. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we both forgot to mention the twangy guitar part.
I'm pretty sure we did.
That's actually one of the things that hooked me in the song was that guitar.
That is a really great part of the song. Yeah, that part I always did like. And there is something, you know, I don't know why it seems like such an insignificant thing, but the way Jeff sings "Tonight, Tonight," it's like it's catchy. I like that. So, Mike Hudson, "Balance of Power" is far from my favorite E.L.O. album, and in fact, it's in the lower rankings. But it's not a terrible album. There are some pretty decent songs on it. For some other band, it might be their best album, but there are so many fantastic E.L.O. albums that came before this one. It just didn't stand a chance. "So Serious" is an okay song to me. It's not even close to my favorite from Balance of Power. In fact, I find it to be one of the weaker tracks on the album. It doesn't seem I'm as enamored by this track as a lot of the people who have posted ahead of me about this one. I lost my place here. I'd say the bit that I like the best about this song are the little guitar riffs that come right before the choruses. I know how each time Jeff adds a little more to the riff than in the previous chorus lead-in. That adds interest to the song. I actually like the guitar bits all through the song. It's sparse but good, and keeps the song from being just all synthesizers. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I agree.
And then Corey Gomel says, "This is a freaking great song, and EPJ, on behalf of Balance of Power, we accept your apology. What a great Arc of a Diver reference. I think I lost count of all bands mentioned in this comparison to this short ditty. No, I heard Petty, Orbison, Beatles, then Pink Floyd, and Alan Parsons. Heck, might be easier to list bands not mentioned in this podcast. I remember hearing back in the day about a special video technique used to give the video its special look. After being filmed, they played the video in the video editing machine backwards and recorded it backwards as it played to get that multicolor effect. BOP will surprise you guys with just how many good songs are on it. Not to mention one of my many all-time favorites, Getting to the Point. And just like So Serious, I also love this podcast. It must be something about changing hearts and minds about BOP that brightened my day. So great job. Well, glad we could brighten your day there.
Absolutely, considering what you're going through at the moment. Um,
Yes.
As for my apology about Balance of Power, well, we're only 2 songs in. We haven't hit the bonus tracks episode yet. There's still time for me to maintain my hate for this album. Well, hate's strong. Annoyed dislike, maybe. Jack Brown, who was nice enough to give us some money through PayPal. Thank you, Jack. Always loved the video. Parts of it were filmed in Dania, Florida. I'm getting that all wrong. Dania?
Dania? Yeah, I think.
Yes. And yeah, I'm sounding like those. I lived in Massachusetts for 7 years, so I know I'm sounding like those people who, I know that probably for Jack, in his head, he's probably acting like me when people on the news say dead ham. No, it's deadum. It's not dead ham. Anyways, Dania, Florida, with the car stalls on the railroad tracks. Fort Lauderdale is where the swimming pool scenes were filmed, and Miami on the Metro rail train. Growing up in South Florida and living there at the time, it was fun to see those sights. This is about the same time that Miami Vice was really popular. Yeah, it was the time when it was really popular. Miami Vice was on from
Explains quite a bit.
Yep. Miami Vice was 84 to I think 89. I think I only saw 2 episodes in that entire run. It's good to get filming locations for this video because I didn't know where it was, and I don't think I found anything on it for where the video was filmed. So that's good. We have more information to add, which is the point of the podcast.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of the podcast,
What?
we review of the podcast.
No. I sent you a little something extra that fixes. You got a comment from G. Brewer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know it came in
after. Send it to me after the review of the podcast.
Well, it came in after I had sent you all that stuff.
Okay.
So you read G. Brewer.
G. Brewer says, I love So Serious from the first time I heard it upon the album's release in 1986. I bought the record the same day and I saw a movie called The Color Purple. Balance of Power was a welcomed lightness after experiencing the heaviness of Purple. I love both still to this day. I think Eric W. is definitely correct about So Serious being a precursor to the sound Jeff would bring Tom Petty's first solo album with I Won't Back Down, and pretty much everything else after that. I forgot to mention that I can totally do without the famous line segment of the podcast. It hurt my ears really bad.
Well, gee, this might be welcome news to you. It's not welcome news to me, but I understand. That after Balance of Power, George Leonberger has retired from the great line from this week's song segment. So I'm sorry to see it go because the production was amazing. And there's a reason for that because I was curious and I looked him up. And he's a professional radio guy with a lot of radio experience. And that's why I was like, I know I've heard that voice before. So he's done a lot of big deal professional radio stuff. So it was great that he contributed his awesome radio skills to my rinky dink little podcast that I put together on my MacBook with Audacity. So Send It will be his send off, and I'll be sorry to see him go.
Sorry to see him go?
So you can blame.
God, the closer you move to that northern border.
No, you can blame that on Bare Naked Ladies. I used to say sorry, like an American, and then in 1996, when I got their live album Rock Spectac, there's some banter with the audience, and he says sorry, and it just stuck in my head. So ever since then, I always say sorry. So you can blame Ed Robertson for Canadianizing my sorry. It takes effort for me to say it the American way. So yeah, blame Canada.
Of course.
Of course. Now, we got a review on iTunes about the podcast from Back Jack Do It Again. Eric and Eric do a fantastic job in breaking down the details, nitty-gritty, and nuances of each song. They seek fan input and feedback in addition to completing research before each episode. As a fan of Jeff Lynne and Electric Light Orchestra for nearly 45 years, this is an entertaining way to look beyond a song itself and learn a few things along the way that I didn't know or can't remember. Highly recommended for die-hard fans as well as newer fans. Well, thank you back, Jack, also known as Jack Brown. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's great. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing then. I love it.
Yeah. So I like good feedback because I'm always my theory, especially after working customer service forever, is 9 times out of 10 the person who's actually going to respond to you is not happy.
No, it's usually people are quick with the "you sucks" than the "that was good." I like that. So, yeah, there are a whole lot of reviews. I always meant to weave them into the bonus tracks episodes, but they got too long. Now I have a whole lot of backed up reviews, so I don't know if we're someday going to just do a reviews episode or not, because do you guys really care? It seems more like it's stroking our egos than anything you people out there are going to want to sit through for like 20 minutes or an hour of us reading comments, mostly saying, you guys are wonderful, and only a couple people saying, you suck. So that's why I'm kind of like,
Well, maybe I should go look at the iTunes page and
there's some there. I copy and paste everything into a Word document, so it's all here too.
okay. Well, you can send it to me so I can look at it and see all the comments from everybody who goes, "Hey, Eric W hates E.L.O."
Yeah, yeah. All you guys do is bash E.L.O. Yeah, except for the 120, what are we up to? 130 something episodes?
Yep.
Except for the 120 episodes where we don't bash E.L.O. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for a band that's been around this long, I mean, the ratio of good songs to bad songs is pretty darn amazing.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you can't hit gold every time, but they hit gold almost all the time. So they do a pretty good job.
And a nice little bit of silver and copper in there too. So
Oops. Yeah.
rarely do we get a steaming pile of copper light.
Yeah. Or, or petrified turd. So,
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
yeah. Okay. I think that's it. I'm sure we've gone on for a long time and
Yes, we have.
celebrations for anybody who's made it through this whole video. Okay. We're
Yep.
done for now. Okay. All right.
Yep. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.